Awesome. Today we are going to jump into finally the story about Gideon and the battle against Midian. And so I like how it kind of rhymes. If you like how it kind of rhymes, why don't you jump on in and let's check it out. So let's go. Welcome to the Equipped Disciple channel. My name is Rick McClatchy. I will be your host. We are here to be and to make disciples of Jesus, and we do that through daily devos, through Sunday sermons, and through other discipleship resources. We are here to equip you. All right, we are in Judges chapter 7, and we're finally hitting the battle against Midian. The Midianites, Gideon and his 300, they topple Midian. And so let's check it out today. What's going on? How do they win this battle? Remember, 300 people against people that had more camels than they even had soldiers. And so, yikes, man. Like, that's not the odds, like if you are a gambling person, you're not going to go putting money on the old tribe, the army of Gideon. It's not a good investment, not a good plan. And so here we go. Verse 15, when Gideon heard the account of the dream and its interpretation, he bowed in worship. He returned to Israelites' camp and said, "Get up, for the Lord has handed the Midianite camp over to you." And so, if you don't remember yesterday, we were talking about how sometimes the word of the Lord comes to you and tells you to do something that just freaks you out. And so what do you do in those situations? Well, I recommend that you just step forward and do what God's calling you to do, and just trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. However, God is so good. He already had handled his fears. He'd already handled his fears with the fleece. So he had answered that prayer request 2 different times, doing exactly as Gideon had asked, so that Gideon would have plenty of reason to believe and trust that God was behind this whole thing, that God was positioning him. Then he picked the army. 32,000 people came out. He was feeling pumped. He was like, oh yeah, like this is just confirmation that God is in this. 32,000 people. This is amazing. And then God said, by the way, your army is too big. Send all the scaredy cats home. Right? And then 22,000 people hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. We're down to 10,000. And Gideon's like, well, I don't like these numbers as much, but okay, fine. I can still do 10,000. That's fine. That works. And then God's like, hey, Gideon, I know how you guys work. And I know if I let you win this battle with that number of people, you're going to be like, we're pretty awesome. Did you see how we kicked their tails today? Like, we're so talented. We're so smart. We're so good at this. And God's like, I don't want you falling into that trap of thinking that you're awesome. I want you to come out of this battle thinking that I'm awesome, because that's the kind of stuff that got you into trouble, to serving the Midianites in the first place, right? Is that you trusted too much in your own stuff and not in me. So then God sees again that Gideon is still a little nervous. And so he sends him and his friend down, and they listen to a guy who just had a dream talk about a dream of the barley loaf toppling the tent of Midian. And the friend that's listening to the story says, wow, that is none else than Gideon, the son of Joash. Called him out by name. Are you kidding me? So here we are. He hears the story. And when Gideon heard the account of the dream and its interpretation, he bowed in worship. That was his first response What a great lesson when God has sent you the encouraging word that you need, when God has reminded you about who he is and how you can trust him. Bow down and worship him. Bow down and worship him. Give him the honor due his name. So he returned to Israelites' camp. So, and I love this. This is like a recipe for church, you know? You go to church. Most people go to church on Sundays, but whatever day you go to church and you remember the amazingness, the amazing acts, the amazing faithfulness of God. And it makes you bow down and worship. It makes you be so thankful for who he is. And so you worship him and you say, God, you're so awesome. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for showing up in my life. But then you don't just leave it there. You take it beyond that. And you go to your brother or your sister in church and you say, get up, man. The Lord has handed the enemy over to us. Let's celebrate. Let's not just celebrate. Let's go and kick the enemy's tail. Come on. So I just love it. You remember, you observe, you experience the faithfulness of the Lord. You respond in worship, and then you encourage. You encourage your brother, your sister in the Lord to say, we've got this. Let's do this. Come on. All right. Verse 16, then he divided the 300 men into 3 companies and gave each of the men a trumpet in one hand and an empty pitcher with a torch inside in the other hand. So now he's executing the plan, right? He's obeying. He's doing everything just as the Lord told him to do it. Verse 17, watch me, he said to them, and do what I do. When I come to the outpost of the camp, do as I do. And this is right. This is like the parent's worst thing, right? Like do as I say, not as I do. It's so much easier. It's so much easier to tell you what to do than to do what, than for me to tell you to do what I do. But Gideon was going to lead this crew by example. He was going to get out in the fray. He was going to put his life on the line as well. So he said, watch me. Watch me, he said to them, and do what I do. When I come to the outpost of the camp, do as I do. And when I and everyone with me blow our ram's horns, you are to blow your ram's horns all around the camp. Then you will say, for the Lord and for Gideon. Say it right now. You're driving in your car, for the Lord and for Gideon. And maybe you put your own name in there. Maybe put my name in there. That's cool. I'd be down with that. For the Lord and for, put your name in there. Come on. That they were excited to win this victory for the Lord and for Gideon. Gideon and the 100 men who were with him went to the outpost of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch after the sentries had been stationed. They blew their ram's horns and broke the pitchers with their hands that were in their hands. The 3 companies blew their ram's horns and shattered their pitchers, and they held their torches in their left hands and their ram's horns to blow in their right hands. And they shouted, a sword for the Lord and for Gideon. So, just picture this, you're a soldier in a tent in a valley. And all of a sudden you are woken up by the sound of the hills around you exploding, right? With these things being shattered, probably like pottery style pitchers, just being shattered all at once. Like, the noise would have been kind of crazy. And then trumpet blasts and shouting. And so, yikes. That's a brutal way to wake up when you've been surrounded. So each of the Israelites took his position around the camp, and the entire Midianite army began to run, and they cried out as they fled. When Gideon's men blew their 300 ram's horns, the Lord caused the men in their whole army to turn on each other with their swords, and they fled to Acacia House in the direction of Zerera, as far as the border of Abel Meholah, near Tabith. You know exactly where that is. Okay. I think I'm so funny. Then the men of Israel were called from Naphtali, from Asher and Manasseh, and they pursued the Midianites. So this is like the epitome of follow the Lord and God takes care of his kids. Trust the Lord. Do what he says, even when it doesn't always make sense, right? Do what he says because he's got you. He is faithful. So when you remember the faithfulness of God, worship him. And then turn that worship into encouraging your fellow brothers and sisters to say, we have got this. Come and let's go do battle against the enemy. So don't just worship the Lord, though I want you to do that. But then I want you to take it to the next level. And I want you to encourage the people around you with what God is inspiring you with. And then go do exactly as the Lord has told you. Go and do it. Go and do the work exactly as the Lord has said, and set the example. Set the example for those around you. For the Lord and for Gideon, do as I do. Come on, let's get out there and let's do it. And then just see the Lord work. Because, yes, they did exactly as the Lord had said, but should it necessarily have resulted in that outcome? Maybe not, Maybe not. Maybe it shouldn't have done that. But in the hands of the Lord, we are secure. We are good. So with that, a big hearty God bless you. Have an amazing day. And let's go kick the enemy's tail today.
Hey, if you're getting value out of these videos, if you could just make sure you hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel. YouTube is suggesting a video right about here for you to check out. So go ahead and check out the next video.